Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So the other day, Harbor Freight's 12 Days of Christmas sale had these welding carts and welding cabinets on sale for 40% off. So I've used this welding cart quite a bit. This is my second one, and I really like it. And I thought for 40% off, I kind of needed another one. But then when I was there, I got looking at this welding cabinet, and this thing's normally right at like $3.99. And I ended up saving $160 on this welding cabinet. So I figured I'd give it a shot too. So let's get them opened up. And then I actually have a couple of the $39 welding carts too. So we'll just kind of look at all of them and see what we think. The thing that I thought was kind of truly amazing was I drive my little two-door Jeep and we got all of that in the back of that thing. All right, so we've got the first welding cart put together, but that's actually the second one of that type I've got. So let's get into this Vulcan heavy-duty welding cabinet and get it out of the box and get it put together real quick. And there it is. So it's got the brackets for the gas bottles down here. It's got all of our cable loops right here. Here's some holders. I suppose if you're going to use this for TIG, you might want to be able to put your rods in there. More cable holders and a nice handle. Maggie's getting the chains out for the tanks. And I'll probably put the bigger of the two cylinders I've got on this table. So Maggie assembled this one over here, the welding cart from Vulcan by herself. And then we kind of worked together on this welding cabinet just because it was kind of heavy. So what are your thoughts? Which one was easier to put together?
Oh, this is way easier to put together as long as you have something to, lift it up to get those wheels on the end. But yeah, this was really nice and only took about 15 minutes.
Yeah, if that long even.
Yeah, that one took about an hour.
Took you an hour to put that together?
Yeah, it took about an hour. There's a lot of fiddly little stuff. It's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy. You just gotta sort all your parts and fiddle it into place. But it was nice. This one's a lot nicer because it's mostly together already.
Okay, so now at this point in our hobbyist metal shop, we've got one Vulcan welding cabinet. We've got two of these Vulcan welding carts. And I think that's going to be what I use my MIGs on. And then we've got two of the Chicago Electric carts also. Tell them about putting the Chicago Electric carts together.
They're nice carts. They're worth having, but they're not as simple as the Vulcans.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
So, we'll get all these together in just a second and kind of look at all of them. All of them do the job, but I'll tell you what, the Vulcan cart is probably my favorite. Yeah. This Vulcan cabinet is going to be great because I've got all kinds of little parts in my big toolbox that I can put right in these drawers. So that's something. One thing that we did find putting this together, these drawers are extremely stiff. So when we first got the box off of it, we thought maybe that door was locked, which locked those drawers, and there was no key visible. Just grab this lower drawer and pull it really hard, and the key and all of the equipment basically is inside that. And then there was also some of the wheels and stuff were in this other cabinet. But anyway, if you get one and you have a problem with it and you think maybe this thing's locked, just pull that bottom drawer a little harder. Go ahead and open that bottom drawer.
It's just a pretty a hard pull, and I just didn't pull hard enough.
Yeah, we didn't want to break it, so we thought maybe they were locked. Well, they're not.
Just broke a fingernail trying to get it
Okay.
open.
So they're a little stiff, but they're not locked. So let's take that for what it's worth. All right. Thanks, Maggie, for putting those together.
You're welcome. See y'all later.
Warning: graphic content.
Yeah, it did. It ripped that fingernail right off.
Okay, and those are not fake nails, right?
No, those are not fake. They hurt when you do that.
So that was that top drawer. Maybe I'll just leave that drawer closed.
Well, I think a guy could probably pull it harder than I did.
That was one-handed hold of the thing. So and the other thing is, I'm assuming, like a lot of things, as you open it, it will break in.
There. Now you can see them better. But you can see they're adjustable. You can move them up and down. So they're good.
Okay, so here are two of the Chicago Electric welding carts. And one of them I've got my titanium flux 125 on, which I use a lot. And it's kind of nice on that smaller cart because I can wheel it pretty much any place I want to go. And then I've got my titanium stick 225 on the bottom of it. So I've set up for flux core, MIG, and then stick welding. And then this Chicago Electric cart I've had the longest. I've had this thing a long time, probably 20 years. And I've got my Hobart welder set up on it. And there's the gas bottle. So it definitely works. But for this large, this is a transformer machine. And the other thing is I had to put a piece of plywood. I had to put a piece of plywood in on this shelf because this Hobart machine sat down enough that you couldn't open your door if you put it all the way down there. So this machine's not going to stay on this cart. It's going to go on probably the other welding cart from Vulcan. And then what I think I'm going to do is this is the Vulcan welding cart that I've got, and then I've got the new one over there. But I think I'm going to put the Vulcan MIG-Max on the cabinet, and then probably put that Hobart on this one. So I've got some changing around to do, but I think these two carts are going to be a nice addition. This cart so far, every time I've used it, I mean, with that large bottle back there, this thing's extremely stable. And like I said, it's pretty dang easy to use, and it's a definite advantage to having my MIG welder on this as opposed to the Chicago Electric cart that I've got my Hobart MIG welder on. So why do I need so many carts? I'm kind of addicted to welding machines. I just like them. And I'll tell you what, with Harbor Freight up in their game with the titanium and the Vulcan, man, they're easy to get addicted to. But I've got my titanium 65 plasma cutter over here, and it's just sitting on a shelf. Then there's an old arc welding, that was the first inverter arc welder I ever had. And then here's a small contact plasma cutter from Forney. And like I said, I'm going to get those on a cart as well. So there's 3 more machines to go on carts, which some of them are going to go on the Chicago Electric cart. But anyway, like I said, I've got several hours probably of changing stuff around to do, but that's part of the enjoyment of it also. Like I said, I'm a hobbyist welder, and like any hobbies, changing stuff and buying new stuff is part of it. Okay, and so I moved my Hobart welder over to the new Vulcan cart, and a couple things that I saw on it that honestly, while using my other Vulcan cart, I never really noticed. There's a tab here that you can tighten down so that if you move this cart around, just grabbing the welder won't slide on this, which it did on this because it was just real convenient to grab the top of the welder or push on the welder or whatever, and nothing was there really to stop it from sliding forward. So you had to be careful. Now the thing with that Hobart welder, that thing weighs a ton. It's a transformer welder instead of inverter, and so it was pretty well glued to that. But like I said before, these are the boards I had to put underneath my welder so that you could open the door. Without those, it sat down in here too far and you couldn't open this door. So that's not an issue with this Vulcan cart, so that's nice. The other thing is this is laid out a whole lot nicer than the little Chicago Electric. Although, like I said, I'm still going to be using 2 of these Chicago Electric carts. just not on my MIG welders. And another thing that I noticed, I've got this small bottle for this setup, and I've had this bottle for a long time. I think I got it from maybe Rule King, but anyway, I did buy it. And this bottle, the chains in this top part, obviously the bottle's so short, I have to use these bottom chains. Well, if you've got a cylinder like that and you're using this Vulcan welding cabinet, it doesn't have any of these low chains. So you will need, yes, you may not need the giant bottles, but you can't use that little short bottle and have it secured on this cabinet. But I do have a taller bottle, and I'm going to put the Vulcan MIG welder on that cabinet with the large bottle I've got. Another feature on this Vulcan welding cart, this cord reel on this side, it will also go on that side, because the first one I put together, I put over here, and then I put my Vulcan MIG welder on it, and found out that kept me from opening the door on the Vulcan. So I just lifted that off and put it on this side. So I kind of knew on this one to go ahead and put it on the left side. Well, left side from the back, right side from the front, but the non-door side of the MIG welder. So here's another thing. On this old Chicago welding cart, it's got a 100-pound capacity. And this one, like I said, it's probably at least 20 years old, but I bet they're not any heavier rated now. So the Vulcan welding cart has got a 350-pound capacity. And I'll tell you what, with this Hobart welder and the tank, especially if you used a larger tank, you would easily be over 100 pounds. Now then, that one right there, the Chicago Electric, it's been used for probably 20 years with over 100 pounds on it, and it never failed. So, not that we're destructive testing these or anything, but just to kind of let you know where our experience is at. And then the other welding cabinet, it has, let's see, let me read it. So it weighs 159 pounds, but it can hold 500 pounds in this big Vulcan welding cabinet. I don't know that I'll ever put that much in it, but it's good to know you can. Okay, and then the other thing that I like, while we're putting this together, Maggie was kind of fighting with it. It kept wanting to roll away with her. We'll see how good these locks work. Okay, so those wheel locks, they work pretty good. Like I said, I can slide it, but those wheels are not going to turn. So that's kind of nice. And then to pop them off, fairly easy to do. I'm impressed. I like it. I think I'm going to be real happy with these welding cart additions. So when I went in to get the 350-pound capacity welding cart, which would be my second one of those, they had these Vulcan welding cabinets for sale, and I'd actually never even seen those before. I mean, they've been in the stores for a while, but I just had never looked at them. And one of the reasons I'd never really considered it, I knew they were expensive. And the regular price on that was $399.99, but with 40% off, that made it $239.99. So, I mean, that's saving, what is it, $160, I think? Yeah, $160 off. How can you beat that? The savings on that one paid for the 350-pound one. Now, they don't have that sale every day, but I'll tell you what, right now, this, whatever it is, 12 days of Christmas sale that Harbor Freight's having, along with the Harbor Freight Inside Track Club prices, man, they've got some incredible deals going on right now. So the 350-pound capacity welding cart from Vulcan, the regular price on it is $109. So I ended up getting that one for $65. I mean, wow. And to tell you the truth, my experience has been it's worth every bit of $110 by itself anyway. But I never buy anything until I get at least like a 20% coupon or something there. They're just so frequent. I think maybe this little drawer here, or whatever it is, cabinet, but it's got the fold-up door. I might just put my welding helmet in that. I've got a bag for it anyway, but that might be a nice place to keep that. Okay, so this is kind of how I envision using both the welding cart, which I've got a spare one now, but I've got other machines, and then I've got two of these Chicago Electric carts, I've got two of these Vulcan carts, and I've got one Vulcan cabinet. And this is how I envision using the Vulcan cabinet. So the main thing is I'm going to have my Vulcan MIG welder on it. And I've got its gas bottle down here. And then I've got the titanium stick 225, so I can do arc welding, MIG welding. And when I mess those up, here's the titanium plasma 65, so I can cut it all back out. Hopefully that won't happen much. But some of the things as I was putting this together that I really like, again, you know, there's no front lip on this, so there's nothing to get in the way of your wires, which I've had that on a few other carts that I've been using. My plasma came unplugged. Anyway, and then around the back, there's enough cord hangers on here. This is all the plasma cutter supplies. Make sure you see that, okay? And then on the back here are all the power leads for all three machines. So it might get a little, you know, like I said, not tedious, but you'll have to make sure you're plugging the right one in, obviously. And all three of them use the same plug. So, like I said, that's the plug for all three of those machines. So you just have to make sure you got the right cord. I've got the grounds for the MIG welder and the arc welder back here. And then the leads for the two welders. I've got my arc welder lead I just put on top of the arc welder. And my MIG gun I've got up here on my Vulcan, actually, I don't know who makes that, but it's Harbor Freight little MIG holder. So I like that. I think it's going to work really well. And with all that weight on it, it's really easy to move around the shop. So what I figure is most of my projects that will be done inside this shop, you know, I can run this cart up to them and do pretty much everything. And this is my biggest MIG welder. It's my biggest plasma cutter. It's not my biggest stick welder, but it's big enough. So I'm real happy with it. And here's the other thing. Okay, so to change rolls of wire on this MIG welder, pretty much no matter where I put it, I was going to have to do something. Because if I put it here where the arc welder is, this bottle would keep me from opening this door. Okay, where it is now, this arc welder keeps me from opening it. If it was here where the arc welder is, the tank would keep me from opening it. So what I decided to do was just space them out equally. And then this stick welder is so freaking light, I can just move it out of the way to change my rolls of wire if I need to, or when I need to. The other thing is, what I've noticed is, I mean, it's not like you're changing rolls of wire every day, or at least I don't. Even the small rolls, I get quite a bit of welding out of them. So there's my setup, and I think the Vulcan Master Welder Series heavy duty welding cabinet has definitely improved my organization and my capabilities in the shop. And honestly, because of the 40% off thing, for $65, you can't beat this little welding cart. In fact, honestly, for the regular price of $110, you can't beat that little welding cart. These welding carts, the Chicago Electric ones, they work, but that's about all I can say about them. So that's our video. Appreciate you watching. If you got anything at all out of this video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. It absolutely helps our channel. And think about subscribing. It's free, and it definitely helps our channel. Have a great day, and be safe. Some kind of collapse over in the corner.